Hey, David Brewster here with another episode of Chordplay, and this is the Chords of Tesla. And of course, Tesla is a very popular band from the 80s, and they kind of extended into the 90s, and then their popularity kind of, fluctuated a little bit. But they were massively popular back in the late 1980s, mid to late 80s, I guess. I did see Tesla back in the day. It was Great White and Tesla, and it was, Great White was the headliner. And this is before the big, the horrible, fire incident that happened with them. So it was long before that. And I was still in high school. I don't even think I was old enough to drive. I don't really remember the year, but I remember I went mainly because I wanted to see Tesla. And also Badlands was supposed to open that show. It was supposed to be Badlands, Tesla, and Great White, but Badlands canceled. Tesla came out and kicked ass. They were phenomenal. I was blown away. They sounded exactly like their albums. The vocals, the guitars, the tones. They were really tight, and it was the original lineup. And then, when Great White came out, they sounded great. It was just, I don't know, like by the time they played Once Bitten, Twice Shy and some of that stuff, I was like, not really digging this. But Tesla, in my opinion, they just ruled that concert. All right, with the opening tune, that was the song Getting Better, which is from Mechanical Resonance. And I've actually shown that to students for years, for decades, technically, because it's just a very simple, melodic guitar part. It's really good, practice for arpeggiating chords, for picking. You've got some sus, kind of hammer-ons and pull-offs that kind of appear. And, with a lot of the Chordplay episodes, we focused on very unusual chords and different chords and, Steve Vai and Dream Theater and Buckethead and, kind of mining these unusual and weird, exotic sounds. And with Tesla, they mainly stayed, with traditional major and minor chords, a lot of power chords, with their electric riffs. But with this idea, he's really just playing with the D, and then he's adding the sus4 there with his pinky. And then he answers that with A major, and then grabs the sus4 here with your middle finger. And then just walk up B minor, A major, and then it's like an E over G sharp. And then a little piece of G, back to that A, and then back to the D. Second time through, he does like this B minor, and then B minor over A, and then back to that G. So it's a very simple, guitar part, but it's very, it's very pleasing to the ear, like the assembly of the chords and the progression and the way it's kind of put together. It just kind of grabs your attention and you're like, wow, what's going to happen next? Next example comes from the song What You Give, and I've also always loved this acoustic intro. It has a real bluesy, kind of swampy, tonality and sound, and very cool guitar part, and a cool song too. That, and you're just kind of playing with partial chords, a partial G, and then a partial F right there. E, and this kind of does this little slide, almost kind of a bluesy thing. And then right there it goes back to that F again. So once again, it's a very simple idea, you know, but when you put it together and start playing with it, you know, it's very ear-catching and melodic and very catchy. And that's, you know, kind of the epitome of a great guitar part. You know, if you play through it, even if it's simple, you know, but if you play through it and grab attention, then that's really what you're looking for. The next example is the verse section from Modern Day Cowboy. And in the Scales and Tails series, I did start that series with a look at the run, you know, like the, you know, from that song. But we're going to look at the verse part, which has this, you know, kind of picked, you know, chord passage, and we're really just kind of playing with the fifth, and it kind of moves up to a raised fifth and then the sixth, and you can hear this guitar part. That it's very simple, you know, but it's very effective. You know, it definitely delivers that sound of that riff. So just a little bit of A5, and then you're going to raise the fifth. You could think of that as, you know, E sharp, or you could also think of it as just a flat six, like an F right there. And then raise that up to F sharp. And then go back to, you know, either E sharp or F, however you want to think of that. There you're going to slide into a partial G, you know, kind of the middle part of, you know, this G major bar chord, like that. The next example comes from the song Song and Emotion, and it actually starts off with a D sus2. Cool guitar part, you know, it's built around, well, once again, you know, very basic chords, but I like the way, you know, there's these mutual notes between the chords, you know, with that D sus2, you know, you're hearing that high E string a lot, and then you're hearing it right there when it kind of moves to that what's like an E minor 7, but you're hearing, you know, that high E string again. Very typical kind of almost Led Zeppelin, you know, fashion. You know, C sus2, a G over B, and then it moves down to that B flat down there. And you can hear that in Over the Hills and Far Away and a ton of Zeppelin music. And here it is, you know, hiding in this Tesla song. All right, the next example is from the song Love Song, which was, you know, arguably their most popular song. I know their cover of the song Signs was also very popular on the radio. But Love Song was massively popular, especially when it was a new song. And there's a lot of interesting chords and guitar parts. Actually, the solo from Love Song is brilliant. You know, there's a great guitar solo in this song. But the guitar part, as far as the intro and you know, the beginning of the tune, it's all fingerstyle acoustic, almost kind of a classical kind of approach too, which is interesting. But it sounds like this. there you can see it's a partial D, and then partial A, and then B minor, and then a partial G. And then it just starts walking down. Back to that G, back to the A, and then the D. And then it starts doing that little melodic and that's kind of a G, and then D over F sharp, and then E minor. And it's just kind of walking between those chords. Kind of ends there on A. You've got the crazy little pull-off run, and it goes right back to that D again. All right, the last example here is from the song Little Suzy, which was on their debut Mechanical Resonance, and this is the intro part to Little Suzy. And I actually made a video of this and posted it on Facebook. I think that was like last year. But in here I am, you know, showing this guitar part again. But this is in Dadgad tuning, so if you're not really hip to what that is, Dadgad is literally giving you the notes that you're going to tune the strings to. So there's D, A, D, G, A, D, or Dadgad. So it's in an altered tuning, and it's also played fingerstyle. Something like that. And it's really just, you know, kind of outlining some chords in this tuning. And you're using lots of open strings, which is really common for Dadgad. It's kind of, you know, allowing you to play the guitar a little bit differently than, say, you would in standard tuning or drop D or, you know, some other tunings, because Dadgad really does kind of thrive off of, you know, like the open strings. So it's an interesting, you know, tuning to kind of play with, because, you know, the chords and fingerings and things that you commonly would play in standard tuning don't really work or apply, you know, for this tuning. So that's why you got some of these, you know, kind of funky, you know, chords that pop in. You know, and even the fingerings are a little weird, you know. But I really like that intro part. You know, it has a very Jimmy Page, you know, kind of sound. It kind of reminds me of Zeppelin a little bit, but then it also just has this airy, you know, kind of melodic quality that I can't really place. I don't know, to me it just sounds like, you know, Tesla, I guess. But anyway, that's going to wrap this look at the Chords of Tesla, and definitely, you know, a very interesting and you know, interesting and very inspiring band too, because a lot of their music, you know, revolved around simple ideas, you know, simple hook and a riff and, you know, a chord progression. And definitely the guitarists weren't afraid, you know, to whip out some solos. They definitely have some great, you know, guitar solos and melodic, you know, ideas in their music too. So if you're kind of new to the band or you're not really familiar with Tesla's music, dive in, you know, dive into the first 3 albums for sure, and you'll find plenty of stuff you can kind of, you know, sink your teeth into. So leave some feedback and some comments, and please subscribe to Late Night Lessons, and I'll be back with some more material and lessons very soon. Thank you.